What's going on? Welcome to BBI Talks. I'm your Professor Karima Lotus, and this is my wonderful husband.
This is Brother Anthony Muhammad. How you all doing, BBI Talks family?
Yeah. So we got a new time, and we have a new addition to the show, right? And today we're just kind of easing our way back into BBI Talks. We haven't started season 3 yet, right? But we decided we're going to talk about season 1 and 2. We're gonna leave it open to everything. So feel free to join the conversation. Y'all know the drill. You know that we will always have opportunities for the public to chime in on the conversation. And while we're talking about our favorite shows, we're actually going to get a recap, right, of one of the shows that we had on here that addressed reparations, right? And so Professor Reginald Muhammad is going to be on, and we're going to talk about the summit, the reparations summit. So you want to start now, or you want to kind of delay a little bit? How you want to do it?
Well, I think given the time constraint that we're up against, the more conversation we can get in, the better. So go ahead and get started.
Okay, so let's pause the KRS One for now, because you know we always have to start this show with our intro. You know how we do. I'm trying to get down here so that we can start this show the way we always start the show, and that is with our intro. So you know what it is. BBI Talks. Let's go.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react. Cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. Get what I need, the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Let it I know what I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react. Cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. Glad that I know what I know.
Professor Reginald Muhammad, right here on BBI Talks, right? Y'all can't see. Look, we're trying to work some things out, y'all.
It's tight up in here.
Yeah, but this is good. This is good closeness, right?
That's right.
So we're trying our best to try something different, brother Reginald. You know,
yes.
We're trying to bring a new energy to what we're doing. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, about how we even got to this point. But for now, we're addressing our favorite shows, right?
Absolutely. And definitely the information that you brought is one of the favorites, one of my personal favorites anyway. So it's good to have you again, Professor Reginald.
Yes.
Thank you, family. Salam alaikum, and how are you as the whole family and the listening audience? Well, thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We're doing well. I believe I can speak for my wife saying that we're doing well.
Yeah.
If you could, brother Professor, can you put a light behind your phone or your computer with whatever you are broadcasting? Because if you put a light behind that device that you are speaking into, that will allow us to see a beautiful face, brother.
Okay, so we need a little bit more light, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So what you do? Whatever.
Okay, excuse me. Let me move and see if we can put a little bit more light real quick.
You want to put the light behind the device.
Yes, we want to be able to see our guests. Thank you so much, Brother James from Memphis, South Haven, for sharing BBI Talks. We appreciate you, big brother. And don't, please be, go ahead and share any questions or comments you may have for our guests today. We're talking about our favorite shows, and I know your show was one of our favorites as well. We're going to get to that a little bit later on today. So
is that any better?
Yes.
Much better, bro.
Oh, 1,000% better. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you all. I call myself moving around to give it a little bit more variety, because it looked like this every time I'm with y'all, I got the same background and the same shot. So I was like, oh, okay, let's move it around. But anyway, thank you all.
Now check it out, y'all. He's got degrees all up and down the wall behind him. I just want to highlight that.
Credential.
Working hard to become a better student, and that's all I can claim now.
That's what we call
Work,
Pop your collar.
brother professor.
no, working hard to become a better student. And my children and the audience remind me every day, well, we got to get up and go to work and study and research even more to be on point to make sure that we're serving our people in the best manner as far as reparations.
Yes, sir.
That's right. That's right. So the last time that you were on the show, right?
Yes.
We were talking about the summit, and
Yes.
the summit was actually last week, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
And, you know, give us a little bit of background, you know, just a recap for those who may have missed the show and want to go back and watch those shows. But how did this kind of, well, first of all, what organization hosted this particular summit, and what was the mission or the overall objective of hosting the summit?
Okay, with this, the National Reparations Institute, where it is a policy center and think tank that we developed more than 2 years ago now. And at the end of the day, myself and a host of others who work within the National Reparations Institute, one of the things that I discovered over the last 30 years of working around reparations, we had plenty of organizations, we had plenty of activists, leaders, scholars, students in the reparations movement. But what I found, in my humble opinion, what was lacking is that we didn't have a policy center. We didn't have a think tank doing reparations full time. So, and if you think about it, if you say that we have matured as a people politically, then one of the things I'm going to ask you, where's your major think tanks? Where are your research centers? Because we know public policy and legislation develops 10 years, 15 and 20 years before the public even see it, but they've already researched it and designed what it will look like 10 years ahead of time. And so one of the things I realized that was missing in the reparations movement. So we were blessed by Allah's permission to fact that we would develop our own political think tank and research center. And I found that it's absolutely necessary, because we can't just pick it up once a month, once every 2 weeks, and think that we're going to secure reparations for the masses of our people. We're talking about before the end of this decade. Again, we had to have a research and policy center developing that policy and legislation that will actually benefit Black people economically, politically, socially, educationally, and holistically. It was necessary. And so last week, we had the second annual National Reparations Summit in Indaba. Indaba means great sitting down, a great gathering. And so we did that last week for the second time. And I tell you, we were blessed that it was an overwhelming success. And and again, it was not a meeting. It was not a conference. It was not a rally. It was a summit. So if you can imagine, at the Woodruff Library and the up in the exhibition hall, a big rectangular type setup, big U rectangular type setup, where leaders from different organizations, nationally, locally, and grassroots, were there. So we had members from NCOBRA, which is the largest coalition of Black organizations for reparations. We had members of the December 12th movement. We had members of the Nation of Islam. We had members of the All African People's Revolutionary Party. We had members of different organizations, local organizations. We had the Sister Care Alliance organization that was there. We had, who else we had there? We had the New Order organization, Human Rights Organization, New Order. They were at the table. Local organizing committees were there at the table. And so we had members from the faculty at Georgia State University. The Malcolm X grassroots movement was there at the table last week. We had the Beacon Hill Human Rights Alliance out of Decatur, Georgia. They were at the table. And so we just had a host of people. We had visitors from New York, Chicago, Detroit. They were actually there at the summit last week. And then, of course, we had we were on the Zoom platform, and we had those who were also participating. And so the key was Sister Karima, Professor Karima, and I want to thank Brother Anthony, great scholar, for being on and hosting me today. But bottom line, 4 objectives that came out of this is that, number one, was that we're working to consolidate the movement and unite the movement of reparations. That's critically necessary, because if you ask all of those organizations what reparations look like, you'll get different answers. You ask your neighbors what reparations look like, and you got 10 neighbors, you'll probably get 10 different answers. So the key was, number one, to consolidate the movement. Number two is to control our own narrative. Number three was to implement the collective culture model and the National Reparations Declaration. And then number four was to come out of there with select committees in place, in order that we finalize some reports from 5 select committees, and then those reports will end up being bounded research and recommendations that we will publish. And then also from that point, we put together our strategic plan to actually secure reparations for Blacks in America.
So you mentioned a lot of organizations, and
yes, sir.
That's wonderful. I'm so happy that not only did you have such a wide span of different organizations, but also people who came from different states to take part of this summit. One question that comes to mind is, and I think you probably answered it as you finished what you just stated, but were those kind of committee structures that you talked about, is that one of the outcomes that happen as a result of the summit, or is this kind of leading into the formulation of these committees that you talked about?
Well, that was the goal and objective to begin with, that we would have 5 select committees. Okay. And those 5 select committees, number one, education and culture. Number 2 was economics and investment. Number 3 was public and mental health. Number 4 was state and land acquisition. Number 5 was public policy and legislation. We had those on the table, and we knew that we would have experts and practitioners there who could serve on those committees and do the research. I'm one of those people. I stay in my lane. I know your wife, brother. She's an expert in business, MBA, and everything else, and consult with Fortune 500 companies and help build businesses, small and large. So, give an example on the economics and investment. We had to have people who know economics and who knows investment. Yes, Mike Roberts was one of the guests that presented last week, and Mike Roberts is the largest Black hotel owner in the country. Yes, so if you've ever stayed at the Renaissance downtown Detroit, which some of us, because we participated in Savior's Days over the last 10 years, well, we have stayed at Mike Roberts, one of the 12 hotels that he's owned at some point in time. And so we had, and then we were fortunate enough, what is his brother's name over Emory University? I'll call it in a minute. Dr. Kenneth Reeves, economist. We had people like that on board who are supporting the work that we're doing. So we're filling those select committees with experts in our area. Give an example, Brother Anthony, you may know Dr. Jewel Crawford. She's a longtime reparationist, as well as professor and MD from Morehouse School of Medicine, and done extensive work in the way of research and activist work around reparation. Well, she'll be heading up our committee on public and mental health. And so we'll have 4 or 5 others with her who have that background and expertise. They will be doing research for the next 120 days, and then they will be issuing their recommendation and report as it relates to reparations for the masses of our people. And that has to happen, because if we don't do it like that, what will happen? We know HR 40 will pass at some point. That's House Bill HR 40 and Senate Bill 40. Well, those bills will eventually pass and speak to reparations. So our job is to make sure that the white liberals and the black petty bourgeoisie does not sell the reparations movement out, because at the end of the day, we're talking complete reparations, and the complete reparations will address our economic, educational, political, as well as the social cultural struggles. When you start talking about the restoration and the transformation of Black life across the board, that's complete reparations. And so our job is to make sure that we have brought our best minds, sisters and brothers who are experts in their area, brought them and have them allowed them to do the research, give them the space and the time to do the research, and then make recommendations. Because, give an example, education and culture. Well, what about Pookie and Ray them who will never probably go to anybody's college or university? They deserve free vocational training. But what does that look like, and how do you quantify that?
Right.
That's why we have those select committees in place to do just that. We know HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities, we don't need them put up any more new gymnasium. We don't need them to pave the parking lots. How they will survive and sustain themselves is through their endowments for the next 15, 20, 30 years, or for the remaining of the 21st century, is through their endowments. Well, what does that look like? We know from our declaration that we just had revised and implemented it, and it's back on sale and digitally and otherwise. Well, we know that there's $83 trillion minimum they have to come to the table with. Well, how much of that needs to be earmarked for HBCUs? Well, we bring in our experts. We bring in Dr. Tika Okoye. We bring in others from around the country and allow them to quantify that. And so we can make sure that money will be earmarked for HBCUs, so their endowments, they are sustainable and successful for the remainder of the 21st century.
Excellent. Can you, before Professor Lotus jumps back in, can you hold up that book that you showed? Because I want the audience to see, and then I would like for you to share with the audience where they can get their copy. So that's
okay.
The National Reparations Declaration.
Yes.
And what
a qualitative and quantitative framework for Black redress. And what we're so proud of about this book, and we have been blessed with, Dr. Ray Wimbush wrote the new foreword for the book and for the declaration. And it is a document. It's not a long document. It's only 63 pages. And I got to make sure that I get you all the new copy of this declaration, and 63 pages. And what's key about it, it's documented. We've cleaned up the citations here and everything else in the declaration. It's a good, quick read, an hour and a half, 2 hours, you can get through it. And what's key about this, if the young brother is standing on the corner or on the college campus in corporate America or in the Capitol, once he reads the National Reparations Declaration, he's clear about what reparations. He can clearly define what reparations is now. Exactly. He know who owe us, why they owe us, how much they owe us, and why reparations is essential.
Right.
That's what's key, that the reparations movement, in our humble estimation, was missing in the reparations movement. And so the other part of it, that we have at least 7 reviews of the declaration from brothers and sisters around the country, experts, working people, college students, and they have given their review. We have some of those reviews in the declaration here that we have now back out and published. And again, we have cleaned it up. And again, we're thankful to Dr. Ray Wimbush at the Morgan State University Urban Policy Center. He wrote the new foreword for the declaration. And the other feature out of this real quick is that we have quantified what reparations look like. We can talk about it all day, but has anybody mathematically quantified what it looked like? We didn't go ask white scholars, white economists to give us a scale. Well, the brother Michael Muhammad developed that scale after months right here at the National Reparations Institute. And so we're certainly grateful and proud of that fact that brother worked on it, and he was blessed to come up with his wife, Wendy Muhammad, both of them mathematicians, both of them extensive background. She administrator with the Atlanta airport, the business airport in the world. Both of them high-ranking air traffic controllers. That's what they have done full time, both of them. And so they came up with the scale and worked on it for months. But what's key about that scale, Professor Lotus, is that the other thing, Brother Anthony, that's key about that, we can go into any municipality now, any state house, any the federal government, and even in the African country or any Caribbean nation, and go in and quantify within months. Put certain variables in place, and then within months we can quantify what reparations look like. We don't have to guess or speculate about it. We don't have to come up with a weak theory about it and guess and speculate. We can quantify what reparations look like for any African nation by putting certain variables in place, and we've been able to do that with America, the United States government, select multinational corporations, nonprofit organizations, and then 2 over 35,000 plantations that are still up and operating, we've been able to go and say, you owe us a minimum of $83 trillion. I know that was a lot. Hopefully I answered some of the questions.
No, that's perfect. And actually, I do have some questions, but I want to ask my question on the other side of this commercial break. So
Yes, okay.
Let's go ahead and give some love to our proud sponsors.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
PS Naturally Yours 1614 Oil. Let all things be done with love. 1614 is a nourishing hair, skin, and nail oil cultivated to transform your self-care routine with our unique natural essential oils that features sweet vanilla, citrus, and a hint of cinnamon. PS Naturally Yours 1614 Oil is now available at psnaturallyyours.com.
This episode of BBI Talks is brought to you by our proud sponsor, Abdullah Daniels Group, LLC. We are a full-service life insurance agency that represents multiple carriers in all 50 states. For more details, log on to our website at adgllc.org or call us at 404-561-7480. Abdullah Daniels Group, Life Insurance Agency.
All right, and we are back. So here are my questions. We just had the summit, which was incredible, but my question is always, what are the outcomes, right? Because we can have round tables, square tables, rectangle tables, but if there are no outcomes, then we met for no reason, right? So
exactly.
What were some of the outcomes of this reparations summit?
Well, some of the outcomes is that on Saturday we had a actual roundtable session and discussion where we posed 4 questions, and what those outcomes were that the organizations that were available there, we had over 27 organizations that participated, and those outcomes were is that we agreed upon some of the things that we would do to unite the movement. And that the recording of that is available on our website. But there were at least 7 to 8 concrete things that we will implement immediately that will help unite the movement. I'm gonna give an example. We've agreed to meet every 2 weeks of various organizations via the Zoom or one of the other platforms. And we have agreed to continue to network and then also too, the term complete, the definition complete reparations. That is one of the terms that many of the organizations have agreed to adopt. So also, and then 2, we have come out of that summit that those who participated, many of them will be on the select committees. And see, that had not happened. One of the things that we were able to do, Brother Anthony, right off the bat, is ask everybody to check their egos, check their theology, check their ideology and their philosophy at the door, and agree that the masses of Black people will do complete reparations. So let's build on around there. And we know that unity is not necessarily uniformity. And so based on that, we were for 2 hours, Professor Karima, is that for 2 hours, we went around that table and asked 5 questions were posed. What would you do what can you do immediately to start to unite and consolidate the reparations movement? So everybody is on record saying what they would do to help support that. And again, one of the things that came out of that, we will meet and start to communicate bi-weekly. We will start to announce any events that other organizations have. And then 2, they agreed that we needed a minimum of 5 select committees. And then also the agreement is that there has to be from there a strategic plan moving forward for complete reparations for the masses of our people.
And that is so critical because what we're finding, the closer we're getting to actually seriously engaging a conversation and execution of reparations, we're beginning to see a lot of splinter groups Like
Yes.
even here in Atlanta, when you're driving up, what is that, 75, 85 north, you see a
Okay.
billboard for, I don't believe it's ADOS, but it
Okay.
is descendants, African, what is it? African American descendants or something like that, for reparations, right? So
Yes.
I think that's the first time I've seen a billboard in the city of Atlanta that even addresses anything remotely close to reparations. And I've been
Okay.
here,
Good.
I've been living in Atlanta since 1995.
Okay.
So it's been a while. But we're also seeing reparations, and we've talked about this in previous shows, popping up in other cities, other states, right?
Okay. Yes.
They're handling things differently. How has this summit made, or have you made a conscious effort within this summit to pull in local government representation? And you don't necessarily have to name names, but
Yeah.
were you successful in engaging local government? Because a lot of reparation conversations and execution of plans have happened on the local level when
Absolutely.
when we look at this conversation nationally. So was there an engagement, and if so, what was the outcome for that?
Well, the local officials, we reached out to several of them. We did not have the many of the ones that we reached out to participate. But on the virtual piece, we did have a couple who did participate on Saturday. And so what we're going to continue to do is reach out to them. And I'm giving an example. One of the things Dr. Ray Wimbush is doing for the city of Baltimore, he has already attempted to and start to work on quantifying reparations and gathered the local people as well as the scholars, and they're dealing with what should happen in the city of Baltimore. And at the local level. So he was able to give a brief report. We reached out to give an example, even at the state level, we reached out to Dr. Shirley Weber out of California, because she's one of the first nationally, as far as a major state to put reparations on the table and it be seriously considered. So we reached out to several of them locally. One of the state representatives did get back with us and but was not able to join us, but will be working with us in the up and coming weeks on some local initiatives, because we know the state of Georgia, Assemblyman Roger Bruce has introduced legislation around reparations. We've had contact and conversations with his office, and we will continue to do that, because at the end of the day, we can come into, we give an example, we can come into the state of Georgia and over a period of time with the right team in some months, quantify what that looks like, because Georgia is key when it comes to free labor, the exploitation of blacks. Give an example, the city of South Fulton, they've offered a city ordinance, was really an ordinance at the city level, dealing with reparations. Well, we know that area was a heavy cotton area at one time. So we can go in there and over a period of time and tell you who the family members were and roughly how many blacks picked cotton in that area. And then quantify that and tell you really what's owed of the blacks that were exploited and that were utilized and exploited for cotton in that area of South Fulton. Now it's a well-developed area. The black middle class lives there, but how do they establish themselves, and how do they that all of that area became a very wealthy area outside of within Fulton County? Well, we know that there were cotton plantations out there early on.
Now, to stay with this this governmental engagement,
okay,
where the city of Atlanta is in the midst of a mayoral runoff.
Okay.
Now, I hear Buckhead being a part of this mayoral litmus test.
Okay.
Is reparations being pushed as a litmus test as well?
It has not. Go ahead. Excuse me.
Will be given, in one of the blackest cities in America.
Yes. it has not been part of the discussion. There is one sister at the state level who will be running for the U.S. Senate seat against the sitting Senator now, Raphael Warnock. She has a reparations agenda, and she's very well read in the reparations movement. She's, formerly out of ADOS, but her and I have very good rapport, and she's well read and making sure she keep reparations on the front agenda. One of the things about Atlanta that is somewhat indifferent is that Atlanta has a black middle class who are starting to look at and accept that reparations is going to be part of the conversation, and it will be part of the platform in the near future. Right now, I don't think it is developed, but that's our job to make sure it's developed. And because at the end of the day, I submit to you and your audience, if it's not complete reparations at the national level, the local level, at the state level and at the local level, if it's not complete reparations, it ends up being nothing but political patchwork at the end of the day. And it will not, as far as the restoration and the transformation of Black life, it won't ever happen unless we're talking and implementing a complete reparations program. So, and I say that at the state level, and I say that at the city of Atlanta. Atlanta, one of the things that you saw happen, that there is a changing of the guard. The Black petty bourgeoisie who have sold out Atlanta, this is one reason why he did not get a third term, Kasim Reed. He had become the best dirty worker for the white ruling class that has ill affected the Black population. We have a homeless population, Black homeless population in Atlanta that's constantly growing, that has never been addressed. Right. We have a crime problem, and we know that crime is some of the breeding basis for crime in a city when there's a level under the development, a lack of education, a lack of opportunity, economic opportunity and growth for the citizens. So you're getting a crime wave there. Kasim Reed did nothing to address that. So he didn't get a third term, even though he had more money. He had over $2 million in his campaign, but we talking about a local election. $2 million more than any of the campaign, all 14 candidates in the race, but he still didn't win. Because one of the things that people are doing now, Blacks, especially Blacks and a younger Black, you can't just sell them anything. Now they're saying, what's the quid pro quo here? What you gonna give us if we give you our vote? If we organize people in the vote? And his inability to deliver for the Black community and giving the white community all that they have gotten for the last his 2 terms in office, and then Keisha Lance Bottoms doing the same thing. She couldn't even come back for a second term. So he decided that he was going to get back in the race, but he lost. He didn't even come in second place. And so he's not going to be part of the runoff because our politics is not social symbolic anymore. And what do I mean by that? I don't need any pictures with you I don't need you to come to our mosque or our church and take pictures with me on the campus. I don't need you at the prayer breakfast. See, that's a social symbolic model. Our people's model now is more of a substantive model. What are you going to do for the Black community? And he had sold out, and she had sold out, so they couldn't even come back or would not be allowed for a second and third term. And so at the end of the day, reparation, going back to your question, we will be posing and pushing the reparations before the 30th, before this runoff. They're going to have to answer the question of reparations for Black people here in Atlanta also. We're pushing to make sure that that's part of the discussion and that they will take a stand, because what you're going to see around the country, Blacks who do not support complete reparations for the masses of our people, they'll start to lose their seats. And again, that social symbolic model will not hold up anymore in the Black community, because we got a little bit more, a younger, more sophisticated, and much more mature voting bloc than we had 20 and 25 years ago.
At the risk of this being, because we can actually have a whole show talking about the politics, Atlanta politics, and definitely that's something that we need to look into. At the risk of making it, I really want to say this as it relates to Mayor Keisha Bottoms, that I do appreciate about her is that when I look nationally at how protests have been handled as it relates to I believe that she has actually been the best at addressing protests than any other mayor that I've seen.
She did. We have to give her credit for that.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
We have to give her credit for that, because
Yeah.
had it been any other mayor in the city of
Yeah.
Atlanta, the outcome would not have been the same. And
I would agree with you.
I'm very confident about that. So I say hats off to our sister for that. I understand that the dynamics of in Atlanta, for all the things that you named, are very, very difficult. Probably the only city that I'm learning is more difficult than Atlanta is Chicago.
Yeah.
Politics is no joke. It's not for the faint of heart at heart. But I have to give Sister Mayor Keisha Bottoms props for that.
Well, we do, and I acknowledge that, sister, because she did a great work as it relates to that part. But when she first got into office, she sold all her political capital by pushing the Gulch, another $4 or $5 billion deal for white developers. And again, so she had no more. Again, when you got streets that are unpaved in the city of Atlanta, when you got a homeless population you want to address, a crime problem, then you got the AU Center there that you have helped under the developed. And going back to Kasim Reed's administration, he cost the Clark Atlanta University and the AU Center hundreds of thousands of dollars by attempting to sell properties that did not belong, that belonged to Clark Atlanta University, that Morris Brown was leasing. But he had convinced white developers in the city that they could take the property from Clark Atlanta University, from Morris Brown, because Morris Brown had gone into bankruptcy. But he cost the AU Center. And again, when black politicians don't address their own base, and only time they come to the base when it's time to be elected, well, you got a little bit more sophistication and more developed black politician, black electorate than you had 25 years ago. So you can't come with the social symbolic model. And we do give Keisha Lance Bottoms, she handled that correctly, but she had too much baggage that she had not addressed the black community and the base. And that model of strictly a business model, appeasing and paying for the white developers and not addressing the domestic base in Atlanta, it cost her. So she couldn't run. She couldn't run for a second term. Be honest with you. And then Mayor Reed didn't get a second term. Didn't get a third term because of that model, and that methodology does not hold anymore politically for blacks in America.
Well, we gotta. This conversation is getting heated. We're gonna have.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with that at another time.
Another time, we're winding down to the last 2 minutes of the conversation. My last follow-up question is: what is Representative Warnock's stance on reparations? Does he have one?
He has not taken a stance on it, but he's going to be forced to, though, be honest with you. He may get a second term because blacks right now, they are afraid of the whole, they have been made afraid about the whole Trump constituent and the Trump mindset that you see in America and a rise of white nationalism. So Warnock got an opportunity and he was able to motivate the base. But Warnock, one of my fraternity brothers, he's going to have to deliver on reparations also. Do you realize in the U.S. House of Representatives, we're only 10 votes away from actually having the H.R. 40 go into committee and eventually being brought to the House floor, only 10 votes away. But we got black elected officials who have not even come on board for reparations. And what you'll see around the country, if we have anything to do with it, they will be dismissed from their seats if they don't deal with reparations. Because again, there's no program out there, economic or political program, that will actually restore and transform black life like complete reparations. Everything else, as I said earlier, is political and economic patchwork. They've got to deal with reparations. Be honest with you, and it is come to pass now, and we're elated about it. So we're trying to serve all black organizations. You can come to the National Reparations Institute. One of the things too I think you all will delight about is that, and we're happy about it. By the end of the month, we will be doing scientific polling on reparations for the first time. We've gotten the software. We got the infrastructure in place that we will be doing our own national polling right here at the Institute on reparations. And so that we're asking all organizations you can feed from the research that we're doing. We're not competing with any organizations. I had to make that clear to the national organization. This is a policy center and think tank built on reparations for the masses of our people. And so we're delighted about it. And we're going on a 25-city tour to push to make sure that our people are clear about what complete reparations are. And then we want our people to read the Declaration, because we see the Declaration, and I say this humbly, it is a blessing. We see it as the National Reparations Declaration as the most important political and economic document to be produced or published during the 21st century. It is the most important political and economic document of the 21st century as far as Blacks are concerned. So we want people to read it, give us their critique, or even give us their criticism. But it is a framework. And then then ask yourself to Dr. Ray Wimbush did the New Forward, and I ask that you all read it and see what he said about the National Reparations Declaration and what the reviews that we have gotten on it. And again, I know both of y'all are scholars, and I assure you all we have cleaned it up. The citations, the reviews of it, and the bibliography. I think that we were blessed to do, Allah blessed us with a good finished product, and we just picked it up from the printer last week. And so we're going around the country. We're going to hit HBCUs. We're going to be hitting town hall meetings and really making sure our people are very clear about reparations and what the next move, the strategic move will be to actually secure reparations for the masses of our people.
Beautiful.
Oh, well, Professor Reginald, thank you again for your time and giving us this wonderful overview or a debrief of sorts of what took place last week. If you would, please give us the web address so that we can let our audience know not only where they can get a copy of the declaration, but also I think you said that video, some video recordings of aspects of the summit are viewable online as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Great question, and appreciate the time and the opportunity. But your audience can go, we ask that you go to the nationalreparationsinstitute.org, nationalreparationsinstitute.org, and you can purchase the ebook. We do have the new ebook on that you can purchase and download, and then or you can order the binded copy, and we'll get that out to you in the mail within a matter of days. Nationalreparationsinstitute.org. You can give us a call here at the office, and our number is 404-464-8904. 464-8904. And please give us a call, but you can go to the website and order the declaration, and then you can go to our Facebook page, National Reparations Institute, and see last week's hours of footage and those who presented as far as the National Reparations Summit that took place on last week, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And Professor Karima, we did have a part in that. We honored last week, we honored 11 Black women who I say who were the foundation and the future of the reparations movement. But that was a PowerPoint presentation done by Shelly Muhammad last week. But please go see that, because we are clear about who have been leading, who are the foundation and who are the future of the reparations movement. And Black women too often don't get credit, but they are the base and the foundation of the reparations movement, past and present. So we're real clear about that. And so we ask that your audience please go and see the videos that is on our Facebook page, National Reparations Institute. You'll see the extensive videos, the hours of footage, the different participants, male and female, who participated last week on 3 days as far as the National Reparations Indaba/Summit.
Well, this definitely won't be the last time we have this conversation. We're going to have the opportunity to kind of go through the footage, and then we're going to circle back around and have this conversation again, because I'm sure there's a lot that we want to kind of highlight, where we can, because we know certain things need to be left behind closed doors, right?
Yes, but, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Whatever we can bring out to the community, I think we would serve this conversation by making sure that we bring it out there and allow it to kind of go out to the masses of our people, so that they know that there's some organization that they can be a part of and really help to propel this movement forward.
Last thing, Professor Reginald, is I so happen to notice you have another piece of jewelry on your hand. I don't think we saw that the last time we spoke with you, brother. What is that, by the way, brother? You care to share with us that piece of jewelry that you're wearing, sir?
Well, yeah, I got married some months back, and I'm just so grateful and so thankful. My wife, Shelly, she participated in the summit. And then I got to give her credit, Professor Karima and Brother Anthony. I got to give her credit. She helped us clean up that document, and like I said, we're so proud and grateful. But Sister Barbara Muhammad, one of the great attorneys for the minister, she helped us clean up the document also. And then Attorney Pilar Penn, she helped us clean up the document. So we're so thankful and grateful to those beautiful Black women. Highly skilled. And if you see that we have picked up the pace and we've gotten a little bit more organized, that's because of the sisters have demanded that and have brought their expertise to the table. And so they are part of the board here at the National Reparations Institute. And I'm one of those people that stay in my lane. I tell you what I don't know, but we have sisters and brothers here at the National Reparations Institute, a small body, but doing a mighty work. And then at some point, I want to make sure that I have you and your husband over to the Institute so you can see that we're building and constantly building and developing. And it's because the people have supported us, and we're so grateful and appreciative. We thank Allah for his blessings and his backing and his protection, because it's been some challenges, of course, but the great scholar and revolutionary reminded us that we mask no difficulties, mistakes or failures, tell no lies, and claim no easy victories. So with that, appreciate you all, and thank you your audience. Just thank you all for allowing us to be on your platform. I am grateful and I'm appreciative, and I know I speak on behalf of the entire National Reparations Institute. We're grateful and appreciative that you all will allow us to be on this platform, and thank you all for the questions. Thank you for the support that you have rendered, and we look forward to seeing you all next time.
All right. Well, thank you, Professor Reginald. Congratulations on your nuptials. She's a sister, and he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully you see I'm getting a little bit more balanced too, sister and brother. The marriage. And I have a beautiful wife, and I'm grateful. I don't have no more excuses. Professor Kareem and Brother Anthony, it's, I told her, I can't make any excuses. If there's a problem, it's me, it's not her. She's just a beautiful helpmeet, and highly skilled, highly intelligent. So I just, I'm grateful for that beautiful partner and helpmeet and a wife that I have.
Well, we're happy for you.
Absolutely. And tell Sister,
all right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Let her know that we have never seen all of your teeth before. Now we see all the teeth that you have in your beautiful face. Praise be to Allah, brother.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well, salam, sir. Oh my goodness. Woo! It got a little hot up in here. When we start talking politics, man, that's when it gets real quick. But we need to have these hard conversations, and we need to, call people out. Right. That's not about trying to shore up our interests. That's where we are with it. I want to first take the time to thank those of you who have joined us on Instagram. Look, we didn't even put any real advertisement out there that we were going to be on today. And so that means that you saw that we were going live and you decided to join us. I want to extend walaikum salam to William Kunstler. He has been always a huge supporter of BBI Talks. I mean, comes on consistently, and we appreciate him always checking in on us and see what the conversation is. And he says he thinks he knows you, Anthony. You know this, brother?
I don't know. I have one of these faces. I think that people say that they know me, and If I had $1 for every time somebody told me that, I would be probably a millionaire by now. So,
Well, we got to figure out how we can monetize that.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I want to thank Brother Ahmed for joining us today. And look, the Jock Brothers, they had our son on their show.
Shout out to the Jock Brothers.
Yes.
Wonderful podcast. And thank you for allowing our son Mansour to come on to speak briefly about his 501c3 nonprofit, Iqra International, promoting literacy amongst Black and other children of color. He is the founder and the president.
That's right.
We are fortunate to have been called to serve as members of, well, I'm a board member. Karima is the executive director. So we are doing our part to really help raise young people to really take the baton from us when it is our time. And so praise be to Allah for that, and for Karima doing such a wonderful job with the children.
Oh, praise be to Allah. Well, we thank Brother Ahmed, Brother
Jackie, Brother Kawi.
Thank
you for reaching out to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, the Jock Brothers, and please check them out. Check out their show. They go live on YouTube. They go live on Facebook. I know we're running over in time. Can we at least take it to about 7:30? Because there are a couple of things that we said we were going to talk about. Or as close to 7:30, not quite. But
I thought they was gonna kick us out of here.
Well, look, when they shut the lights off, that's when we know we got to be out of here.
The lights already went out. They came back on.
Okay. So, I mean, I just want to at least talk about one other thing, because we said we were going to do like our favorite show. So I just want to make sure we highlight at least a little bit more before we get out of here.
Okay.
If it's okay. I also want to thank another consistent, loyal viewer, Sister Tracy out of Memphis. Thank you, Sister Tracy. Walaikum salam. We always appreciate you joining us. And like I said, this is love. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing. We haven't been on for a minute, right? And some of you may be wondering, like, why haven't we seen you? So I actually,
haven't we seen you, sister? Where have you been? I want to know too. Like, I don't explain it to me as well.
Okay, we may have to play another song in the background while I tell this quick little story. But basically, I became very ill, right? And the first sickness was a result of this pestilence that's going around, right? So we were both sick, actually. And unfortunately, we lost a family member to this pestilence. May Allah be pleased with him. And it was tough, because here we're both business owners, and we were both sick. And it really had us looking at our situation very differently. Like, I thank Allah for the show that we did on generational wealth. It was protecting our Black dollars, right? We had Sister Adithya Powell from the Powell Group on the show, and just show you how Allah works, right? So she's on the show, maybe not even like a week later, we get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what Sister Anithia was sharing with us was that there are insurance policies or tools that we can use to actually protect our wealth, protect our income.
Right.
So if we get to a point where we cannot work, the insurance policy actually pays us, right?
Yes,
and so she's talking about this, and then boom, we get sick. And so while we're both in our separate quarters, right? Because we can't say the Q word, but in our separate quarters, we really, we're challenged with, gosh, if this gets, God forbid, but if this gets worse, we're in trouble,
right?
And our children were, because they've never seen us both sick. They certainly have never seen us that sick, even though we were spared, because we didn't have to go to the hospital. We didn't have any of those challenges.
Correct.
But so then we come out of that, right? And I get sick again. This time it's for another reason. And that's why you guys might have seen me promoting, yeah, I'm coming back. Yeah, we're BBI Talks is returning, and then I get sick again and I'm out again. And then the because we may have to advance your care, right? And so now I'm like, okay, great. Right? And so it really just caused me to kind of go back to the basics, right?
Yeah.
The basics of the things that we said that we want for one another, the basics of what we said we want for our children, for our future. And we were blessed because when we first got married, we said we wanted to work together.
That's true.
That was always our goal, is that we want to work together. And we were blessed to be able to work 2 separate jobs from home, which allowed us to see each other. But now, with our Magnolia Crescent Orchards and Event Center business, and especially with our Magnolia Crescent Orchards wines, we're able to really start to spend that time.
Absolutely. It's been a great experience because I've gotten to, and we talked about this when we were on the marriage and male and female relationship series show
with Student Minister
Sharif Muhammad. You can find it if you look up on YouTube or Facebook, Male and Female Relationship Series.
Awesome show.
We were invited to be guests along with Brother Michael and his wife, Sister Aniqua.
Beautiful couple.
Who have 22 acres, I believe, of farmland in rural Pennsylvania. And one of the things, the subject was, what has this pestilence, as we'll call it,
right,
taught us about marriage and taught us about one another. And one of the things that I stated is that, or I think you may have stated it, but it rings true for me as well, is that this time spent at home to ourselves has really allowed us to really engage one another. And it has given me the opportunity to see more of the beauty of my wife's mind and her perspective, and allow us to but really start to unpack some very serious conversations about the things that we intend to do to really build. People talk about family legacy and those type of terms, but to get used to, I guess, the process by which we kind of flesh these ideas out. And so one of these outcomes, I guess, is me being even here today.
Yes.
Not necessarily because we had in-depth conversation about me coming on to be, I don't know, just another, what am I? I don't know. I'm not, I don't know if she hasn't conferred upon me the title of a co-host.
He is.
But this kind of really just came out of just kind of some measure of, I would say, comfort, and just it was good energy when we did the interview last Saturday, and then we did another interview for Sister April Muhammad's podcast. And it was just like, you know what, we kind of have a nice little vibe going together. And so I'm saying all that to say that these are some of the aspects of going through the challenges where we both got sick as a result of the pestilence, and then additional health issues. And so all these things kind of worked to, I guess, build this kind of rapport. I don't even know what to say it. You know what I mean? It almost sounds kind of cliche to say that a bond has gotten strong, but really it has. But I think the way in which we kind of intertwine our thoughts and how we're working together, I think that's become more refined over the course of this time since you all last saw her. So
definitely. And I can honestly say Anthony brings the best out of me.
Praise be to him.
And the only reason why I didn't, would you say, confer the title of co-host on you,
because I probably would have said no.
Well, that's a part of it. In previous shows, I wanted to, but I had to kind of be more reserved and say producer, right? And it's funny because one of our other shows with brother Samuel with the software that records when you are being pulled over or if you have an emergency.
Oh, Angel
Tech.
Angel Tech.
Yes. Brother Samuel was like, I like you two together. I like to see you two together.
Brother Samuel dropping seeds.
He sure did.
Mm,
and he said,
I liked him before that. Before he said that, he was very well regarded, sir. But once you said that,
he was spot on. He was spot on. He saw the chemistry. And he said specifically that he liked the idea of Black love, of a Black man and a Black woman together in love on a show. He said he liked that.
So you saying you love me?
Of course I love you.
Okay.
Yes. I love you. I'm in love with you. You're my best friend. And I really sincerely enjoy our time together. And so I think that's what's going to make season 3 spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, and because it gives us the opportunity to really have the kind of conversations that we have at home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking that
with the world, because we be having some really crazy conversations.
No, we have maybe crazy. That wasn't the word that I was going for. You know, you learn a lot about the way people feel about you. Obviously, when you have these kind of podcasts, it just all comes out. You know, it's like some kind of red table talk. Sister Anissa Furkan Peace. Walaikum salam, Sister. BBI stands for Black Business Influencer. So that is, how did you decide to, is it for brevity's sake that you just decided to just say, you know, instead of Black Business Influencer, just BBI? Okay.
Okay. So
wait. Before we go there, I just wanted to just kind of echo, it would just let the audience know, your normal BBI Talks audience, this is not about to be some kind of relationship type of form. We're not changing the focus from discussing business and business as it intersects with the Black community, social issues, political, etc. But to Karima's point, we do have some great conversation. She says crazy. Okay, fine. And it may be crazy as well, because I know I can kind of get on one every now and then. But we do have great conversations, and so I think maybe that aspect hopefully will be beneficial. It will add some value to the conversation, just to kind of get my perspective on some of these topics. But we do have great conversations, and so I guess this will be a way where we kind of let your audience in on some of the conversations that we have.
And you know what I'm realizing, because I almost feel like in this moment that we may be outgrowing BBI Talks. And the reason why I say that, because sister asked, you know, what the BBI stands for, right? So walaikum salam, Sister Anissa. Thank you for joining us. So the BBI Talk stands for Black Business Influencer. How it started, right, from the beginning, is that I was going around to different Black-owned. Well, let me start from the real beginning. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for a boycott, right, of Christmas, right? Not a boycott from the Christ, but boycott from Christmas, the commercialization of Christmas, right? And he gave the instruction that if we had to spend our money, that we should spend our money with Black-owned businesses, right? So that was the seed, right?
The impetus.
That was the impetus, right? And he expands my vocabulary, y'all. Okay, so that was the impetus of what brought about eventually BBI Talks, right? And so in a quest to identify Black-owned businesses that we could support and highlight them, I started taking just my regular phone, and then of course my original producers and director and videographers, the children, our children, Awa and Mansour. I got to give them props because that's the origins of BBI Talks, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so we would be at different Black-owned restaurants. We would be at, different, just various establishments, right? And we would, donut shops like King's Donuts, and people still haven't forgiven me for King's Donuts, because it was so good.
Shout out to Brother David.
Brother David was on Facebook and he was like, I can't believe that you would highlight such a establishment and it would force us to go there like crackheads trying to find some donuts. But if you weren't interested in going to a place located at such and such Sonoya Road, so he's promoting it while he's fussing at me.
Exactly.
But I love that because it allows us to support our businesses, and it educated me on what we have. But guess what, y'all? It also educated me on what we don't have. Right. And so that's where it started. And then as I started meeting the owners of these businesses and I started learning their stories, right? Like, for example, Sister Rahel, who owns the Grant Park coffee shop, right? She'd been there for like 9 years. And she said after we highlighted her on one of our vignettes, right, one of our features, she started getting an influx of customers to come in through her door. And I was like, wow. Then it really hit me. Like, this could actually do something more than I ever thought. And then she took it a step further. She said because she watched other episodes, she started reaching out to the other Black businesses to utilize their services. And I was like, man, the God is good.
All right. So so when I came into the picture, after we got married, we've been married for 2 years now.
2 years.
And she was talking about when she presented, or was sharing with me, rather not presented, but sharing me what Black business influencer was about. She used the term creating a Black business ecosystem. And so that example that she just gave of the sister with the Grant Park coffee shop, to me, demonstrated the power of that. And I was attracted to that because I'm just believe in the power of the collective. Sometimes for Chicago citizens, or pardon me, residents, it could be known as the city of people who hate on you. Everybody always hating on you. And so, but I'm always counter to that. I believe there's great strength when we to be realized when we support one another.
Absolutely.
And so to see that she through her Black business influencer, she started, early on was actually putting that in motion and realizing that this is really a thing. I was just like blown away. And I wanted to do what I could, even if that just meant holding a camera or something like that, to see that come alive. But how did you transition, or what was the thought behind transitioning out of that model into what is now known as BBI Talks?
Well, I didn't completely transition out. What I did was I took those short highlights. And for my birthday, instead of asking for people to give me a gift, I decided I wanted to gift the world.
Okay.
Right. And so my gift to the world was featuring the Black-owned businesses on my birthday. Right. And so it was the BBI Talks Black Business Pop-Up Show. And I thank Allah for it because I started getting feedback from other hosts of other shows saying, man, we've never seen that before, where we were just highlighting different businesses one after another. Right. And it was fun. It was exhausting because I went for like three hours straight. Like, it was exhausting, but it was exhilarating all at the same time. So how that transition happened, like I said, I realized that there were stories behind these Black-owned businesses, right? Just being a business owner myself, I know the things that I went through. Single mother for 9 years, owning my own business, having the challenges of having to meet with a client and still having two very young children. So what did I do? I dressed them up and took them to work. And I knew that other Black-owned business owners were being faced with similar challenges, right? But I also felt like we could learn from each other.
Right.
Right. And so I just think that the more that those stories started coming out, the more what we know as BBI Talks began to shape. And then I realized something, like, you can't just enter into business and not discuss what's happening politically,
Right.
and not discuss what's happening socially, and not discuss things that are happening even in our personal relationships. Because guess what? If someone is having difficulty in their marriage, with a previous marriage,
Right.
it impacts everything, including your business, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why we have the mantra of, BBI Talks, the platform where we discuss issues that matter to us,
Right.
right? Because as a Black business owner, we owning and running businesses. We have a very unique experience living in this country. We have a very unique experience living in this world.
Right.
This beautiful Black skin that we've been given causes us to have experiences that no one else in the world has like we have it.
That's true. That's true. Sister Anissa, thank you for tuning in from Oregon.
Thank you.
All the way up in the northwest corner
I want to go
of
to
the
Oregon.
Country. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Invite us, Anissa. We want to go.
And we just to, I'm from Chicago, so and we did talk about Grant Park in Chicago. Actually, is here in Atlanta. So we are based in Atlanta. We are broadcasting live from the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship here, just on the edge of the what's called the Atlanta University Center, which you have Morehouse and Spelman and Clark Atlanta University. So we are just really across the street from an edge of the campus. So I just want to make that clear. Not that we're against highlight. As a matter of fact, we've highlighted. Yeah, she's had
I had Synergy Foods.
Synergy Foods, correct.
With the caramel dipped apples.
Yeah, in the boxcar. I forget the name of that.
Yeah, it's a whole incubator of Black businesses
that operate out of shipping containers.
Yes,
that
dope model
that were converted into essentially small storefronts, if you will. It's an entire community. They call it the boxcar something.
Yeah,
but I forget the name of it. But in any event,
that same show we had $1 Billion Nate. That's what I call him, but it's Nathaniel Crawford. He is a luxury realtor, a Black luxury realtor, which is not the norm in Miami, right? And then he also was the founder of Build Everyday Better, which opened the doors of more affordable opportunities in South Miami, using shipping containers as well. They were on the same show. So we had Chicago and we had Miami. Right. And there were shipping containers being used in two different ways. One as a Black business incubator, right? Storefronts. And then the other one for affordable housing, and just showing how we are involved in these various industries. And what the connection is. And I'm hoping that maybe together we can do more of that. I'm praying that we can maybe get more live footage. We said we wanted to go to Chicago. Unfortunately, right now, the rates are just crazy. Yeah. If anybody has any buddy passes they would like to gift the show, by all means.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we were planning to actually go up there the first weekend of the month, but
right now it's not happening unless we get a gift. We're open to gifts. My birthday's on the 9th, so if you want to gift us, I'm not gonna block no blessings.
Yeah. So, but
It's that time.
It's that time. So,
okay. Oh, now it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, we had a
all our
good time.
BBI Talks friends.
The first I guess this is kind of like a unofficial intro into season 3 of BBI Talks. Yes. You can consider it as that.
Yes, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna make it fun. And so the new time, this is not the normal time that we'll be broadcasting. It's going to be Fridays between 5 to 6 p.m.
5:30.
5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, so the new time, season 3, which starts next Friday, correct?
Next Friday.
Next Friday, season 3 of BBI Talks will begin here at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will go at least an hour, I believe. So we want you to come back. Sister Nisa, come on back.
Please.
Invite your friends. Set reminders for yourself on Facebook as well as on YouTube so that you can make sure that you come on back. And, we invite everybody to come on out and join the conversation with us. So.
Are we going to bring our non-alcoholic wines?
Absolutely.
Oh, guess what, y'all? We sell 100% non-alcoholic wines. We're going to make sure we have some commercials for that too, but we're going to show some. You know what I'm thinking? Okay, I'm about to have a suburban girl moment.
Good night, sister.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm about to have a moment. I'm thinking we could do this show, but then have another show, maybe a little later on another day in the evening. And we get into relationship conversations while we drink our non-alcoholic wine.
See, this is how it all starts. I just agreed to do this show. I didn't even agree. She just kind of drafted me into it. And see, this is why I'm like,
Sister Anissa, wouldn't you like to see that? Wouldn't that be fun?
Sister Anissa,
wouldn't that be cool? Can you imagine all the questions you ever had about people you've been in relationships with from a male point of view, a good man sharing his wisdom?
Sister Nisa, I like you, but I will block you if you agree to her.
Don't block the sister.
No, I'm not going to block you, Sister
Okay.
Nisa. So look, we got to get up out of here, family.
Yes, we do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to leave you as we came before you with our outro. Thank you, and thank you. See y'all next week, Friday, new time, new co-host at 5:30 to 6:30 next Friday. Until then, we'll see you.
All right, peace.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad, they gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man, get what I need out the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Glad that I know where I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad, they gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land.